How you doing, everybody? From the Civic Center in Hammond, Indiana, over the Midwest Pioneer and Chief, New York Chief of Roller Derby Networks, the excitement, glamour, and color of international Roller Derby League action. I'm Chet Kopic, along with Don Drury, our very special guest, television voice of the New York Chiefs. First period action, distaff wheelers on the track as we pick up action in the pack. Numbers on both sides, very recognizable to all fans throughout the country. Now Darlene Forbes with the Shalag, the Blarney's go, lifts up those arms and comes up high with the elbow. And Carolyn Moreland, the Chiefs out of the 40 series, green and gold jerseys. They're on top right now, 3-zip, and Moreland is in the pack. She has scored for this Chief club. Action going on the offensive, going to the Chiefs, the Pioneers in the early going, having difficulty offensively. And as we check the scoreboard, we find out that margin has been increased. The world champions now up by 6 at 6-0. And a very special welcome to Don Drury.
Thank you, Chet. I'm certainly pleased to be here in Hammond, Indiana to help you call this game between the powerful world champion New York Chiefs and, of course, the Midwest Pioneers. Chiefs, as usual, getting off to a good start. We know that Joan Weston is out of the lineup, and that's probably one of the reasons that the score is a little bit on the lopsided side right now, with the Chiefs on top 6-0.
Of course, Don, on your side with the female wheelers, you are minus the services of Judy McGuire and Debbie Thompson.
They should be returning to action very, very shortly, though. A slight knee injury for Debbie Thompson and shoulder muscles for Judy McGuire.
Chief girls, Jammers, 48 Baker, 49 Sacco, and they put down Susie Neibauer. Back in the pack for the Chiefs, 43 Carolyn Moreland, 42 Pokey Truman, and 46 is Sandy Dunn. And look at Monica Sunovich. The dart goes to work. Goes under the outstretched arms like under goalposts in football. And they're picking up the pace here in the Civic Center. Dunn, she can't make it happen.
Tremendous play out there, Chet. Kasanovich coming up, ducking low to the middle of that double block, then taking off. Came in on Dunn with 2 of the Chiefs directly behind her, again squatting low. I don't think Sandy was ready for that. She picked up 1 point for the Pioneers.
The ice has been broken. And don't forget, for you fans, back in Chicago, final series of the season for the Midwest Pioneers, June 10th, 7 p.m. They're in Chicago's International Amphitheater against the awesome Red Devils. Get this, infield coach Ken Monty, one of the greats, dangerous Bob Woodbury, Ann Calvello, Bobby Sieber, Rosetta Saunders, JoJo Stafford, and 240-pound female Samoan Aloha Linda Villanueva. Pioneers have just 2 more games in this series in Chicago. June 10th, June 22nd, then they leave the area for almost 4 months. That's right, almost 4 months. Now a special event on Saturday, June 10th. Joan Weston and Calvello for lapse legal blocking. Pioneer girls, 50, the Ebony Spunk, Rita Williams, 57, Jones, 51, the Dart, Monica Sunovich, 58, Darlene Forbes, and the Ice Cream Kid is number 53, Sherry Eric. Back in the pack, Sandy Dunn goes to work up high with the knees. Monica Sunovich taking the abuse. Now here comes Jammers on both sides, and the Chiefs have gotten themselves on the scoreboard with a deuce. And Don, as you mentioned, Chiefs noted continuously, always off the track with a fast start.
Yes, it was. Chet will also point out on the last play that it was a double team play that the Chiefs used quite frequently. Barbara Baker and Sandy Dunn both competing against number 51, Lana Kasanovich, on the last jam, and the Chiefs with 2 jammers out. They were also short-handed, as Moreland had picked up a penalty prior to that for blocking in between the jams.
As we regroup, if you'd like to have a game scheduled in your area, and you have a gym at a high school or a college or an arena that seats better than 2,500 people, write to bookings, Post Office Box 1827, Oakland, California, 94604. Let's get some outdoor dates this summer. Let's go into the big stadiums like Shea Stadium, Chicago's White Sox Park, as we watch Carolyn Moreland going to work with the forearms on Kendi, the Dandy Jones of the Pioneers. Number 57 retaliates. Again. And down goes Moreland. Now the Pioneers with the lone offensive threat. Under 2 minutes remaining in period number 1, and the Pioneers need a harvest. They've got to get the tote board working. They trail by 7 and 8-1, and here comes the go-go chant. Candy will work on Sandy Dunn. And the women's captain orders her team into the pull-away. The green and gold on the move in the Civic Center. Jones picks up the whip from Neibauer. Now Eric extends the right hand on the left. Jones picks up the pace. She's on the scoreboard. Oh, baby. With 1:09 remaining in the first period, Candy Jones, who's given this Pioneer Club a lift on so many occasions, gives her team 3 big points, and now the Pioneers trail at 8-4.
Jones moving out on that last play, taking a lot of abuse prior on the first part of the jam. Chet coming right back to hand it out and end up the only jammer out there. Believe there was a penalty called on Sandy Dunn slugging after the play. New York remains on top. The Eastern Chiefs 8 and the Midwest Pioneers 4. 35 seconds here in the first period.
Sandy Dunn, of course, 1968 playoff most valuable skater. All-Star every year since 1966. I know I put her on my Eastern All-Star squad for this season. 5'5", 100 although I think she might be just a little bit heavier than that. That much remaining for under 20 seconds. Action back in the pack is furious. Forbes going to work on Moreland. I believe she'll be penalized. Referees Lou Donovan and Dave Cannella keeping a watchful eye. Done. Dunn going to work on Forbes. Neither team willing to be intimidated. And we're out of time in the first period. 2, 3, and 4 coming up, plus the interview session. I'll be talking with the Greek sneak, Nick Skopas. With the score, the World Champion Chiefs 8 and the Midwest Pioneers 4. Let's pause for a moment.
Men taking over now. This is Don Drury and Chet Comic calling the action from the Hammond Civic Center, Hammond, Indiana. The Pioneers trailing by 4 points in this jam in progress. Number 59, John Rice, moving out for the Pioneers, followed by John Hurley, number 47 for the Chiefs. Hurley moving to the inside. A series of elbow blocks. Rocks, Rice back. Rice digging right back in out of that Pioneer turn. Race is on. Rice coming off. Elbow block. Down the straightaway. Belts him with another one. Side by side. Elbow block and getting to the back. And Hurley has been dumped. The Pioneers now with the only jammer out moving on the play. They're down by 4. Both teams short-handed. Hurley has been dumped in the rear of the pack by Ronnie Robinson. Rice moves in, running his way by. Still going. He'll be moving on Bill Grohl in the rear of that pack. Robinson back on the assist. Rice takes a whip to the outside. Grohl in to meet him. Short double block puts him to the Masonite. Rice up, rolls it off. There was 1 Pioneer point scored by John Rice. The assist coming from Ronnie Robinson. The score now, the New York Chiefs with 8, the Pioneers with 5.
All right, Don Drury. As we watch John Hurley with retaliation, returning the compliment to John Rice, and the bearded New York Chief will sit. We'll bring you fans up to date on some changes on that Pioneer roster. Ed Hessen and Tony Smith have been replaced. Wearing jersey number 53 for the Pioneers is Johnny Harmata, the Hummer. You fans remember him. He is back. Johnny the Hummer Harmata. And number 56, a big, long, lean kid who reminds me of Bob Woodbury. That is Frank Williams. And we would like to mention that joining the Pioneers for their series with the Red Devils in a trade for future consideration, the Pioneers have acquired Larry Smith and Francine Cochou from the Jokers. Take it, Don.
Mike Gammon and Nick Skopas both out moving on the play. Doing the fastest men on the bank track today out there, Chet. Skopas, tremendous effort in the past 2 series. Bob Hine, Bill Grohl at the rear of the pack. Skopas is taking the lead away from a speedy Mike Gammon. Gammon attempting to close that gap. Easily moving back up on Skopas in the rear. Robinson, Hine with a block. Gammon inside. Quick agility, cutting that jam off, preventing any score over Bill Grohl. No score on the play.
Don't forget upcoming Pioneer dates, that final series with the Red Devils in the Midwest, Tuesday, June 12th, Grand Rapids Auditorium in Michigan, 8 p.m. kickoff. Hammond Civic Center, good old Hammond, June 13th, a Wednesday, 8 p.m. Kids are half-price tickets at Ticketron. On the 15th, that's a Friday, Municipal Auditorium, Kansas City, Missouri. June 16th, a Saturday, Kiel Auditorium, St. Louis. Get this, big treat for you fans down there at the Kiel. Match race, Weston, Calvello, 4 laps, legal blocking. Sunday, June 17th, the schedule continues. Mid-South Coliseum, Memphis, Tennessee. I'll have more dates later on. 9/11 remaining in number 2, and here is Don Drury.
John Harmon, number 53, moving out for the Pioneers. He's going against a rough competitor, number 43, Joe Perez of the Eastern Chiefs. 1-1 on the play. Hammer is moving along. Perez sets the mark. Harmon directly behind him now. Robinson with a block in that back, sending one of the blockers high up along the rail. Again, Lloyd Turbin has been spun around by Ronnie Robinson. Both offensive jammers now approaching scoring position at the rear of the pack. Side step by Perez, back to the inside, Armada down. Perez sliding into the rail, Armada back up. Both jammers down again. Both scrambling for the lead. Perez back up and moving first. Armada losing a little bit of distance there, about a third of a lap. Bill Grohl back on the assist. Robinson back to do the blocking. Grohl moving back there along with Perez. No movers yet. Armada starting to approach. Grohl making a drive. Most to the inside. Missile block to Robinson. Robinson back with a block to the outside. Perez cut off. Armada in. Jump block. Perez down. Armada up and moving first. Perez back up without that helmet on is now an eligible scorer, even though he has lost the helmet. Again, both jammers fighting with each other for the lead on that jam. Time has run out. There was no score. Tremendous drive by both of those jammers.
Excellent play all the way around. You know, Don, the Pioneers picking up Larry Smith and Francine Cochute, two diminutive skaters, but two people who will add great speed and depth to the Pioneers. I think it's got to help our club against the Red Devils, and for that reason throughout the campaign.
I'd have to say so too, Chet. More so in the women's field than really in the men's field. You have Joan Weston, you have Darlene Forbes, you have Candy Jones, but they really need something just a little bit extra to give, say, Candy Jones that little bit of time to rest, and I think Francine will do it.
Here comes the bald eagle.
Bob Hine out moving. He's been doing a tremendous amount of jamming throughout the past of this season. The later part, Hine put down by last season's Rookie of the Year, Larry Lee. Very unusual that you'll see a 14-year veteran dumped by a rookie. And now Bill Grohl driving to the rear of the pack, throws a couple of sharp elbow blocks into the chest of Hine. Hine slowed down. Hine caught behind the pack, will be forced to do the blocking. He's a big man. He can do the job. He throws a block, and the Grohl gets him out of the way. Lee moves in. Good, solid shoulder block back there by Hine. Grohl check forward. Lee check back. And here comes Nick Scopus out of that back now. Scopus pouring it on. Scopus coming down the straightaway on the rear. Scopus putting the pressure on that rookie. Moves to the inside. Takes the lead. Still going. They score. One Pioneer point picked up by Nick Scopus. What a combination.
Bill Grohl, 1972 Derby King. It's not often you're going to fool him, but Nick Scopus picked up the advantage in that score now. The Eastern Chiefs 8, the Pioneers 6. We're coming up on the 6-minute mark. And for you fans who'd like to get a copy of the Roller Derby rules, enjoy the simple game. Just send that postcard to Rules, Roller Derby, Post Office Box 1828, Oakland, California, 94604. You'll get your free copy of the rules. Don, something all fans should have, makes the games on television so much more fun to enjoy.
Certainly does. Here's another speedy jammer for the Pioneers moving out. It's John Rice, and again he's out with number 47, John Early. 1-1 on the move. Jammers moving along at a good clip. Rice sets that mark. Early attempting to stay with him, taking a few additional steps to stay with Rice. Very speedy jammer out there. Rice maintains the lead. Early moves to the inside, drives Rice into the rail, almost completely over. Rice hanging on, but Early will be facing one of the toughest blockers in the league today. Number 58, Ronnie Robinson. Robinson giving the advantage of blocking back to John Rice. There's something you don't see too often, Chad. A jammer doing the blocking when the Pioneers don't have a jammer out. Early catching a sharp elbow block. This time it's time for the punishment to be turned around. Rice doing the job back there. Armada breaking late for the Pioneers. He's moving in now. Almost identical goal coming back. Missing the block. Armada sliding down. He went off of the track. He went to the infield. He is being signaled back. I don't believe he picked up the point. That makes Early the lead jammer. It was called off. There was no score. Armada slid to the infield. He was then ineligible to score.
Don't forget, for you fans along the Pioneer Network, you'll be seeing the Red Devils in action. That's right, Bob Woodbury and Calvello and company, the fabulous Red Devils, in action against the Bombers, with Walt Harris calling the play-by-play. So you can just get yourself an eyeful of what this club is all about before they make their way into the Midwest. I know you fans back in Chicago want to get a look at this revamped club with Bobby Seaver and Rosetta Saunders, and Don, I know the fans out in the East can look forward to a big series with the Chiefs and the Devils.
Yes, they can. A very, very short series, just 1 or 2 games in your area. And we'll tell you more about that right after this jam, because we've got 2 of the best out here again and moving. It's 50, Coach Nick Scopus, men's captain. 45, Mike Gammon of the Chiefs. 2 competitors to the inside. Gammon throws a block. Scopus again scrambles back. Side step by Gammon. Gammon back up on the block. Scopus put down. Hine and Grohl both going down, but Gammon is now moving in scoring position. All skaters back on their skates. Bob Hine again back to do the blocking. Low elbow block in by Grohl. Gammon trying to leapfrog over the top. Hine is down, and the warning goes out to Gammon. Then he did the blocking. Grohl going to the rear of that pack. Gammon approaching again. Grohl going in. Block thrown in. Hammond tries to run his way through. Skater's taken down. Hammond up. Scobus takes the lead on the jam. It's called off. The official decision, there were 4 Chief points picked up by Mike Gammon. The assist coming of Bill Grohl. The score now, the Chiefs 12, the Pioneers 6.
Mike Gammon, IRDL scoring champion the past 2 seasons, shows what it's all about. Don't forget, for you fans in the Midwest and South area, Pioneers Red Devils, Tuesday, June 19th, Memorial Auditorium in Chattanooga, Tennessee. Wednesday, June 20th, Civic Coliseum in Knoxville. They're in the amphitheater in Chicago, Illinois, 43rd and Halstead Street. Friday, June 22nd, 8 p.m. start. Saturday, June 23rd, Crown Point, Indiana, Crown Point High School, and Ronnie Robinson leads out the locomotive. It's back to Don Drury.
Again, the back is formed, Chet. The Jammers trying to make their way forward up out of that back to start the scoring option. They have now broken loose. The Chiefs with 2, and it's Robinson coming out with a pivot helmet on. This club has really got a lot of spark. Great Jammers. Robinson busts through the middle of a double block. One skater down. Perez moves up. Sidestep by Robinson. Joe Perez stays right on the jam with Robinson. Experience showing. Block from the outside. Perez put down. And the Chiefs sending Sam Tiapula back on defense. Robinson moving in offensively. Blocked to the outside. Stop. Hit him along that rail. Perez up and moving again. He's about a half a lap behind. Tiapula second waiting. Grohl calling the instructions back to Tiapula. They now form a double block in the rear. Grohl and Tiapula. Robinson moving in. Perez directly behind him. Robinson looking back. Sees that Chief Jammer moving up. Comes in. Squats low. He's in for the score. The jam called off. There were 2 Pioneer points scored by Ronnie Robinson.
Captain Ronnie Robinson puts it together for the Pioneers. And now the Chief lead has been cut. But the Eastern champions still lead at 12-8. And if I can help any of you fans out there with a question about one of the Pioneers or the Chiefs, or any question you might have about Roller Derby in general, feel free to drop me a line. We've been receiving better than 1,000 letters a week. Right, yours truly, Chet Kopic, care of NES, 300 North State Street, Chicago, Illinois, 60610 on the zip code.
The pack being reorganized, Chet, and you see the Pioneers are really trying to pick up the points here. They've got both Scopus and Hine with a Jammers helmet on. Mike Gammon breaks loose first, but it's Bob Hine coming out for the Pioneers. This is a man that can really move on the track, and he's taking up the chase on Gammon. One of the fastest men on the bank track today, if not the fastest. Gammon takes a shoulder block from Hine, stays in stride. Gammon back down, sidestep by Hine. Quick agility throw, late block by Hine. Bob Hine moving in a scoring position. Bill Grohl calling back to Mike Gammon. Grohl, sharp elbow blocking to Hine, hits him with another one. Gammon now moves back in the scoring position. Gammon digging in. Comes in, jump block. Grohl taken out, Hine down. Hine to the inside, still going. Bill Grohl back moving after Bob Hine. Second effort. Tiapula taking into the rail. Hine walking through. Gammon back up. Hine sidesteps lead. Still going. Grohl trying to catch up with him. Gammon moves in. The jam called off. There were 3 Pioneer points scored by Bob Hine. Grohl after Hine down the turn draws a penalty.
Rounding out those dates in the Midwest on the Pioneers Red Devil Series in June. Crown Point, Indiana is the spot. The Crown Point High School, Saturday, June 23rd, Pioneers against Woodbury and the Devils. Sunday, June 24th, they're in South Bend, Indiana at the Notre Dame Convocation Center. June 25th, a Monday, finds the Pioneers and Red Devils in Central High School Fieldhouse, Flat River, Missouri, and they round it out Thursday, June 28th, Delphi Community High School in Delphi, Indiana. Don, we're out of time in number 2.
The score at the end of the second period, the Chiefs 12 and the Pioneers 11.
Back we are in the turf, the Civic Center in Hammond, Indiana. I'm Chet Kopic along with Don Drury, my good friend and television voice of the Eastern Chiefs. Now the female Willers will take over. Back we are in the turf, the Civic Center in Hammond, Indiana. I'm Chet Kopic along with Don Drury, my good friend and television voice of the Eastern Chiefs. Now the female Willers will take over. We have 24 minutes remaining. 2 Back we are in the turf, the Civic Center in Hammond, Indiana. I'm Chet Kopic along with Don Drury, my good friend and television voice of the Eastern Chiefs. Now the female Willers will take over. We have 24 minutes remaining, 2 12-minute stanzas to round out the first half of play. And Sandy Dunn is out and moving with teammate Carolyn Moreland, and they put down the Ebony Spunk, Rita Williams. 5 on 4. The Chiefs are shorthanded. Linda Sacco is in the penalty box. Here comes Darlene Forbes. Moving the beat with the long red hair. Goes inside and takes down 2 green and gold skaters. And Rita Williams seizes the advantage. Forbes again goes to work on Carolyn Moreland. 11:20 remaining in number 3. And now Rita Williams can take her time and measure the strides as she moves around the Pioneer turn and picks up encouragement from John Rice. She'll challenge Sandy Dunn, and Sandy connects. Williams again, and down she goes, but she's up again with the resiliency. It's been a skating game so far on both sides. Fans in Hammond going to work on their lungs, but good. Dunn connects. And the hands are outstretched by referees Canella and Lou Donovan. There will be no points on this play, and Dunn, what looked like it would be a solid offensive by the Pioneers once Forbes was able to rid her teammates of Sandy Dunn and Carolyn Moreland, 2 very proficient skaters. It looked like we had something going. But maybe that's why the Chiefs have been so successful the past several seasons.
Well, they've been successful in the past several seasons there, Chet, but in this particular series, the Pioneers have really been strong. And, you know, a lot of the fans out on the West Coast are going to have an opportunity to see 2 of the greatest clubs in the league today, if not the 2 best. Certainly the world champion Chiefs and, of course, the Midwest Pioneers, who have not lost a series all season. They're going to be in Eureka, California, July 23rd. Coos Bay, Oregon, July 25th. Portland, Oregon, July 26th. Many exciting games coming up there in the Northwest with these 2 great clubs.
After this play, Don, I'd like to have you go over that Red Devil unit for us, if you will. They have got talent from top to bottom. We have 4 skaters out and moving on this play. Out of the 50 series, 53, Sherry Eric. 56, Susie Neibauer for the Pioneers. Or check me on that. That's 51, Lanika Sunovich, moving out with her teammate Neibauer. For the Chiefs, there you see, with the pivot helmet on, is Sandy Dunn. Oh, I'll tell you something. There's a girl who can turn it around for any club in this league. There's not a skating unit in the IRDL who wouldn't treasure the services of Sandy Dunn. And here comes Sandy against Darlene Forbes. Down is a Pioneer skater. That is Kasanovich. Now Dunn beckoning her teammates, screaming at Moreland for assistance. She can't make it happen. Neibauer stepped inside. Action slowing down at the pack. We're at the 9-minute mark here in number 3. And down goes Sandy Dunn as Darlene Forbes connects again. Action in the pack has come to a standstill. And finally, Sandy Dunn puts the hands on the hips and calls it off. But there will be 2 points. 2 points for the world champions on this play. Don, what else can you tell us about that Red Devil unit?
Well, I can, Chet. They've got a tremendous lineup. First of all, you're going back to a man that spent 20 years plus in the International Roller Derby League. The infield coach, Mr. Ken Monty. Tremendous man. He hasn't had too many world champion teams, but he's always developed world champion players. Mike Gammon started with Ken Monty in 1958. He's produced Bob Woodbury into one of the greatest blockers in the league today. Ann Calvello has been with him for many seasons, and she's always been championship material. Just a strong team in general. One of the toughest teams probably the fans are going to see this season.
We'll have more on those Pioneer and Chief dates coming up later on. Now the momentum that the Midwest Club had established has been temporarily taken away. They must regroup, and that's one way to start. You send out Candy Jones, and she went to work on Punky Truman, and the little Chief skater went up on the rail and came right back on the track. Here comes Joan. She's all by herself. Around the Chief turn, she will pick up the assistance of teammate Darlene Forbes, who's got to do yeoman work in this game due to the fact that Joan Weston is out of action taking care of some personal affairs. Don't worry, you fans of the Golden Girls, she will be back very soon. I'm sure the next time you go out to watch the Midwest Pioneers in action, Joan Weston will be there and skating. Off the whip, she'll test Moreland once again. That is Candy Jones, and down she goes. Once again, and Carolyn Moreland, out of a blocking capacity, doing exceptionally fine blocking work as we come up on the 7-minute mark. And Darlene Forbes gives her a belt once, twice, 1 point for the Midwest Club. Now Sandy Dunn will be tested. Forbes picks up the steam. We're counting on jam time. Will Candy Jones score? No, she will not. There will be 1 point for the Midwest Club. Don, how about some of those Northwest Tour dates?
The Pioneers and the Chiefs again will be up there in the Northwest. They will be coming down to the University of Puget Sound in Tacoma, Washington on July 27th. They'll be in Bellingham, Washington at the Ice Arena July 28th. July 30th, they'll be at Aquarium, Washington. July 31st, they will be in Seattle. Tremendous response in Seattle. Be sure and get your tickets early. And all of these dates mentioned, two of the greatest clubs you're going to see throughout the season. This season, last season, any season coming up. Both of these clubs, just tremendous, tremendous talent. The Pioneers will have the addition of Larry Smith and Francine Koshu, along with already a great men's field, and of course, Joan Weston and Candy Jones out there.
Francine Koshu has got to help that Pioneer women's field. She could really add some cohesiveness to a unit which is already very, very strong. Out and moving is Sandy Dunn, jersey number 46, green and gold for the world champions. Right behind her, Susie Neibauer for the Pioneers. Then Neibauer's teammate, Monika Sunovich. And rounding out the four players moving at is Carolyn Moreland, and down. Down go two Chief skaters. And the enthusiasm from the fans in Hammond begins to assert itself. As we're under 6 minutes to play here in period number 3. The world champions with a three-point edge. Now Sandy Dunn faces a one-on-one situation. She moves back in the pack and leaves it to teammate Carolyn Moreland, who is wearing a striped helmet. She could jam on this play, but she has chose to remain in the pack and do some blocking, and she's done yeoman work so far. Neibauer, she can't make it happen. Now the strategy session. Jammers out on the prowl. Moving out for the Chiefs now is Barbara Baker, but she's got a long ways to go, and we're almost out of time, and the Pioneers are on the scoreboard with a deuce. The strategy session between Neibauer and Kusanovich resulted in something which was effective, and the Pioneers have cut that margin down to 1 at 15 to 14.
I want to point out to a lot of the fans in the areas that they're watching these roller derby games on, if they'd like more information about upcoming games in their area, they can send a postcard to mailing list, Roller Derby, Post Office Box 1828, Oakland, California, 94604. Be sure and include your zip code number and the station on which you are now watching this program. You'll be informed of all of the upcoming dates and the teams coming into your area well in advance.
It's a must for all regular Roller Derby fans to have. Get yourself on the mailing list, get the rules, get a subscription to Roller Derby Illustrated. And Don, when are you going to attack me again in your column?
I don't like to attack anybody. I just talk about the games that I see, Chet, and the ones that are most impressive to me. And I'd have to say, out of all the series I've seen, the most impressive team has really been with the Pioneers this season.
You know, Dan, no matter where you go throughout this great league, as the safari begins once again, there is strength and talent on every club in the IRDL. There is no weak sister around. Linda Sacco, striped helmet, moves out for the first time for the world champions. And here come two Pioneer skaters out and on the safari. First is Rita Williams. Then comes Candy Jones. 3:52 remaining in the third period. Pioneers need themselves a point, and they are shorthanded by one skater. Darlene Forbes has taken a spell in the sin bin. Up front, Eric and Neibauer trying to slow it down. And Don, as I studied action in the pack,
there were two Chief points picked up there by Sacco. She passed both Sherry Eric and Sue Neibauer. Both clubs were shorthanded. Just prior to that jam, Forbes and Dunn both entangling down in the Pioneer turn. Unnecessary roughness calls. Both teams felt 4 at that time. We're fielding 4 at that time. And they're both back to full strength right now with the Chiefs on top by 3. 17 to 14 here in the third period.
Full strength means 5 on 5. 2 blockers, 2 jammers. And one lady will operate out of the pivot. As they begin to regroup, you see Darlene Forbes, and you see Candy Jones and Sherry Eric, Sue Neibauer and Monika Sunovich. That makes up the roster for the Midwest Pioneers, minus the services of Joan Weston. And now the surge begins. You can hear the wheels start to hum. Olga Corbett, who reminds me so much of Pokey Truman, the great USSR gymnast, moves out with Sue Neibauer. Corbett will sacrifice just a little bit of side, but believe me, she makes it up in speed. And the jam has been called off. There will be no points either way. And Don, what else do you have on those Northwest Tour dates?
Well, we only have 2 more, Chet. We have 2 more to mention. August the 3 more rather. August the 1st, we're going to be in Spokane, Washington at the Coliseum there. Again, this great Chief team and, of course, this powerful Pioneer team. Then August the 2nd, Yakima, Washington. And August 3rd in Walla Walla, Washington. You know, many fans have asked how they can become a roller derby skater, and there's only one way. You've got to learn to skate the bank track. There are 2 training schools in operation right now, and one for the Pioneer fans here in Chicago. The Pioneer Training Center, located in the amphitheater, 43 South Holstead, Chicago, Illinois. For information, you can phone 376-7050.
The Pioneer Training Center, 4300 South Holstead. Learn to skate like Rita Williams of the Midwest Pioneers, who moves out on this jam. 5-on-5, full strength, joined by Carolyn Moreland. And the Gypsy Doodle, Bango and Hammond. Rita Williams picks it up, and here comes Sandy Dunn. The women's captain of this Chief team is out to test Rita Williams. If I was little Rita, I'd run if I had to face a physical mismatch like this one. And here comes Dunn. Out of left field, nothing. Down she goes. Little Rita around the Chief turn. 1:12 remaining here in the third period. Chief 17, Pioneers 14. I'm Chet Kopic along with Don Drury. Now Dunn crouches low with that big frame and connects on the midsection of Rita Williams. Forbes moves on through, but to no avail. Kind of like running through the wall and leaving the barn door open after the horse is left. Darlene again, down go 2 Chief skaters. Up and over goes Rita Williams. 3 Midwest Pioneer points, and the jam has been called off. Dave Cannella puts the hands in the air and then moves in to play peacemaker as Sandy Dunn, a little bit frustrated, this great women's captain of the Eastern Chiefs, down on her knees being attended to by the trackside trainer, Deke Andre. As we're just about out of time in number 3, and we've got ourselves a tie game, and here comes the action. The tempers begin to flare on both sides. And Don, as we move into number 4, neither team can really afford a penalty at this point.
No,
Have the tie score.
They really can't, Chet, but the Chiefs have picked them up. I believe Sandy Dunn or Carolyn Moreland have picked up a penalty for slugging. Williams taken to the infield. And time running out in this period.
At the end of 3 with the score, Pioneers 17, Chiefs 17. Let's pause for a moment. As we pick up number 4, I'll give the microphone to the television voice of the Eastern Chiefs, Don Drury.
This play in progress, Chet. Number 43, Joe Perez for the Chiefs, out and moving. Followed by number 53, John Harmon of the Pioneers. The Chiefs at a disadvantage. They have only 3 skaters on the track. Moreland and Dunn both picking up penalties at the end of the third period for slugging. With a score tied 17-17. Perez comes back with a block from the outside. Harmon slow down. Harmon moves in. Shoulder block. Dumped again by Joe Perez. Men's captain Ronnie Robinson back on defense for the Pioneers at the rear net back. Perez moving into scoring position at the rear. Perez moves up to the outside. Robinson steps up in front. Good block. Early going to work on Rice up in that back. Rice checked into the rail. Perez moving by for 1. Robinson again comes back with a block. Early moves to the inside. Frank Williams taken out by Bill Grohl. Perez places his hands on his hips. He picks up 2 Chief points to break the tie and go into the lead 19-17.
Don't forget, you fans, back in Chicago, Saturday, June 10th, 7 p.m. at the amphitheater. Final series of the season for the Pioneers against the awesome Red Devils. That means infield coach Ken Monty, Bob Woodbury, Ann Calvello, Bobby Seaver, Rosetta Saunders, JoJo Stafford, and 240-pound female Samoan, Aloha Linda Villanueva. Pioneers have just 2 more dates in the amphitheater in June. That's the 10th and the 22nd, and they're out of the area for nearly 4 months. Get your tickets at Ticketron and get out there on the 10th and 22nd.
Jam started. Number 44, Larry Lee, moving out for the Chiefs. Pioneers still trying to break a jammer out. Bill Grohl out with a pivot helmet on. Nick Scobus making a charge. Side step by Scobus. Grohl going into the rail. Coach Nick Scobus taking up the chase on Larry Lee. Lee with almost a third of a lap lead, and Scobus closing with every step he takes. Easy strides along the track now. Both jammers move in. Scobus to the inside. Shoulder block takes the lead on the jam. Lee scrambling right back down. Shoulder block to the Pioneer turn. Robinson, Grohl back to the blocking at the rear of that back. Scobus dumping Larry Lee. Grohl set waiting. Scobus moves up. Elbow block to the outside. Hits him with another one. Again, Scobus trying to fight his way through for Pioneer points. Lee coming up again. Lee moves up. He'll be challenging Robinson. Robinson drops back. High elbow block up to the head of Larry Lee. A warning goes out to Robinson on a 20-foot rule. Leg block thrown into the midsection of Nick Scobus, back by Bill Grohl. Grohl set. Good. Low elbow block thrown in. Sets him up. Leg block thrown. Robinson back with a block. Elbow block back by Grohl now. Grohl set and waiting. Another leg block thrown back. Scobus down. Time in the jam starting to expire. It does. Time runs out. No score. We want to remind all of the fans in the East that the Chiefs will be coming home during the summer for one series against the Red Devils, the team that the Eastern fans did not have a chance to see all through the Eastern League 72-73 season. They will be there in the summertime. One series only, just a very few games to be played. August the 5th, the Chiefs and the Red Devils with infield coach Ken Monty, Bob Woodbury, Bob Sievers, Ann Calvello, and Rosetta Saunders will be at the Comac Arena, the Long Island Arena in Comac. August the 6th, the Chiefs and the Red Devils will be at the Bingham Memorial Arena in Boone County. That is in Bingham, New York. Coming up on August the 8th at the War Memorial Auditorium, the Red Devils and the Chiefs will be in Syracuse. Again, that's Syracuse at the War Memorial Auditorium, August the 8th. August the 9th, Glen Falls, New York, the Glen Falls Senior High School Gym. This jam in progress. It's number 59, John Rice out and moving for the Pioneers. The Chiefs, without a potential scorer, out moving on the play. Is set number 42, Sam Tiapula back on defense. Rice moving in. He's in scoring position. He's got about 30 seconds to go. High elbow block thrown back by Tiapula. Tiapula steps up in front. Another elbow block thrown back to the outside. Shoulder block thrown. Warning going out to Tiapula pretending to blocking. Leg block thrown into the rear end back. Again, a warning drawn by Tiapula. The back slowed down by the Pioneers. John Early comes back. Shoulder block. Rice up now. She's still looking to get a jammer out. Rice down on the track. Hamada coming out. John Rice back up. Joe Perez now out number 2 to win the play. Rice into the block. Perez slowed down. Early check back. Perez taking the lead. The jam called off. No score. Perez forced to cut that jam off to protect his teammate.
Dan, I believe that Bob Hine of the Pioneers may be penalized or just picked up a warning, but he took a swipe at John Early at that Pioneer term with his over-enthusiasm or rambunctiousness. And I couldn't tell by the signal from Lou Donovan whether or not the bald eagle will sit, but I think it's indicative of the kind of fiery spirit we've seen in this series, wherever it's been.
Well, Chad, two of the best clubs in the league right here. The Chiefs and the Pioneers. I want to point out that the Chiefs will be playing the Red Devils with Ken Monty, Bob Woodbury, Bob Sievers, and Ann Calvello. A game coming up August the 11th, New York City, the Belt Forum in Madison Square Garden. This is a smaller portion of the garden. It seats 4,000 people. All seats are great for watching roller derby, but again, the seating is limited. Be sure and get your tickets as soon as possible. The jam underway. Gammon back with a whip. Grohl going out. Robinson trying to fight his way by. Gammon dumps him. Now Robinson taking him the chase on Bill Grohl. Old pivot skaters out and moving on the play. Two veterans on the move. Grohl with the lead. Robinson in pursuit. Robinson to the outside. Grohl hits him back with a shoulder. Robinson inside. Grohl put down. Nick Gomez back to lead the way. Tiapula back on the bench. Robinson approaching the rear of the back. Tiapula set. Bill Grohl up and moving again. Coming out of the corner of the Pioneer turn. Both jammers moving in. Tiapula set. Robinson moves inside set. Still going. Jam called off. There was one Pioneer point picked up by Ronnie Robinson. The Chief lead cut to 2, 20-18.
Don't forget, regarding the Red Devils, you fans back along the Midwest Pioneer Roller Derby Network, you'll see the Red Devils in action against the Bay Bombers during the next several weeks, with Walt Harris calling the play-by-play, so you can get a taste of what this great club led by Woodbury and Ann Calvello is all about. Don't forget, 10th and 22nd of June. They're back in Chicago's Amphitheater in Chicago, Illinois. Saturday, June 23rd, Crown Point, Indiana, Crown Point High School. On the 24th, South Bend, Indiana, Notre Dame Convocation Center at 2 p.m. start. Don, let's pick it up.
The pack being reorganized right now with the Chiefs on top by 2, 20-18. Pack reorganized. The whistle sounds. The offensive jammers make their way forward from the rear of that pack. The Pioneers with John Harmada going out. He's beat out of the pack by number 43, Joe Perez. A blocking duel going on in the rear. John Rice working on John Early. Another block thrown in by John Rice in the rear of that pack. Early backing off. Perez takes the lead away from Harmada. Harmada directly behind him. The blocking continues in the rear. Two jammers racing into scoring position. Early looking back, looking to assist his teammate. Harmada directly behind him. Both jammers coming up. Blocked by both Pioneers. Harmada in for the score. Still going. Jam called off. There was one Pioneer point picked up by John Harmada. The Chief lead cut down to 1, 20-19. 4 minutes, 44 seconds remaining here in the first half. Chet, I want to remind all of the fans back in the East. Again, we said this was a very short series, the only one of the summer for the Chiefs, and that will be against the Red Devils with Ken Monty on the infield, Bob Woodbury and Bob Sievers. On August the 12th, the Chiefs and the Red Devils will be at the RPI Fieldhouse in Troy, New York. Always a sellout there. Make sure you get your tickets well in advance. August the 13th, the Chiefs and the Red Devils will be in Kingston, New York, at the Dietz Memorial Stadium. August the 14th, Clifton, New Jersey. August 17th, the Springfield Civic Center, Springfield, Massachusetts. And the end of this series, August 18th, the Long Island Arena, the Nassau Veterans Memorial Coliseum. Larry Lee, Bob Hine out and moving on the play. Hine moves to the inside. There's a side step by Lee. Lee back to the inside, shoulder block. Hine again put down. Second time here in the first half. Bill Grohl going to work on Skopas. Block doesn't take. Skopas comes back with a shoulder block to the outside to stop Larry Lee. Hine again moves into scoring contention at the rear of the field. Elbow block back by Grohl. Skopas hit back, taken down. Lee looking to eliminate the opposition. Good shoulder block again. Hine put to the Masonite. Grohl back on the assist. Block to the inside. Charge. Moving forward. Power play by the Chiefs. The back lifted. There were 4 Chief points scored. And the Chiefs now lead by 5 points. 24-19 over the Pioneers.
And don't forget, for you fans who haven't picked up as yet on Roller Derby Illustrated, now is the time to do so. See the great new newspaper, 24 issues a year, 24 moments of great reading. Roller Derby Illustrated. Now to get a free copy, send your name to Roller Derby Illustrated, Box 17, General Post Office, New York, New York, 10001. Get yourself a copy of Roller Derby Illustrated with columns by yours truly, Walt Harris, and the man I'll hand the mic to now, John Drury.
Chad, Ronnie Robinson picked up a penalty for tripping after the play, and the Pioneers are now shorthanded. It shows the Chiefs break the first jammer out. Number 47, John Early. The pivot skater right now, number 51, Bill Hill. He takes up the chase, unable to break a jammer loose. That's the option of the pivot skater. Jammer coming out. The pivot skater then eligible to score. So you have 2 potential scorers on the move right now. Hill with the lead for the Pioneers. Early back there for the Chiefs. Both potential scorers again move into scoring position at the rear of the pack. It's John Rice back on defense for the Pioneers. The Chiefs will have 42, Tiapula back. Elbow block to the outside. Hill makes a move on Tiapula, coming down the straightaway. Shoulder block stops, scrambles up again. Another block thrown back by Tiapula. Again, Hill moves in. Again to the outside. Tiapula steps up, slows him down. Early coming up with a block. And number 51, Bill Hill put to the track coming out of the Pioneer turn. 47 Early still attempts to score. Penalty time expiring. Robinson back onto the track. He comes in with a block early, trying to move Tiapula out of the way. Tiapula checked to the infield, not in time. No score. No score on the play. The score remains the Chiefs 24, the Pioneers 19. 1 minute, 35 seconds remaining here in the first half. Pioneers trying to get the pack back into formation, down by 5 points. Again, we remind you, back in the East, a very short series, the 5th through the 18th, the only series of the summers for the summer for the Chiefs. And again, they'll be in competition against the Red Devils, the team that you did not get to see last season. Bob Woodbury, Bob Severs, Ken Monty, many, many more. Don't forget a special interview coming up with Nick Skopas right after this half, so be sure and stay tuned. Right now, we've got Bob Hine and Mike Gammon on the play. Gammon, check back by Hine, down to one skate, fighting, finally goes down. Hine comes in with a block, and the Pioneers now are the only scoring threat on the play. Bob Hine moving out. Larry Lee breaks late for the Chiefs, but Hine is already at the rear of the pack. The Pioneers looking for a score, down by 5. Bill Grohl back to do the blocking, and the rear of the pack comes in with an elbow block. The pack bunched up. Lee now approaches for the Chiefs. Robinson drops back. Skopas on the assist for Hine. Robinson now up there. 3 skaters crisscrossing back and forth. Skopas moves up. Robinson comes up. Hine comes up. Grohl has got his work cut out for Robinson. Drive inside. Hine put down. Or Grohl put down rather. Hine still going. Skopas with a block. Tiapula takes out. The jam called off. There were 3 Pioneer points scored by Bob Hine. Tremendous team effort on the play. 24-22. If they get a jam started, it'll run the full 60 seconds. Remember to stay tuned for the special interview with Nick Skopas right at the end of this half. And time in the first half has run out. The score right now at the end of the first half, the Chiefs 24 and the Pioneers 22. Tremendous action here at the Hammond Civic Center between the Chiefs and the Pioneers. And we want to remind all of the fans, many exciting games coming up with the Chiefs. A very short series, the only one of the summer in the New York area and throughout the East. That's from the 5th of August through the 18th. Games at the Belt Forum, limited seating. Be sure and get your tickets well in advance. Bob Woodbury, Ken Monty will be there. Again, we want to remind you to be sure and stay tuned for this special interview. Coming up with Chet Kopic and Nick Skopas. Nick Skopas, the coach of this Pioneer team, the man who assisted Bob Hine in for those 3 points at the end of the first half. The final score, or the score at the end of the first half, rather, the Chiefs 24, the Pioneers 22.
Back we are, halftime at the Civic Center in Hammond, Indiana. The score right now, Chiefs 24, the Midwest Pioneers 22. A big second half coming up, of course. Plenty of time for the Pioneer team to not only tie the game, but go on and win the game. And here's a guy who can tell us how they're going to do it, Nick Skopas.
Well, we're going to try and do it. This Chief team is a very, very powerful team. It's one of the strongest in the league. Naturally, they're the ex-world champs. Well, they are the world champs. We hope to make them the ex-world champs. We haven't lost a series. We need this game to tie the series with them. We beat them in their own hometown. We hope they don't beat us here.
Nick, theoretically, when a club gets done with the Eastern Chiefs, you'd kind of like to have a breather. But that's not going to be the case for the Midwest Pioneers, and fans in the Midwest have been alerted. The Red Devils are coming. The reformed Red Devils, led by Bob Woodbury, the great Ann Calvello, one of the real legends on the bank track on the female side. Their infield coach, of course, is Ken Monty. They have Rosetta Saunders, JoJo Stafford, and a 240-pound female Samoan, Aloha Linda Villanueva. And what does she outweigh you by, about 10 or 15 pounds?
Maybe if you put a couple of zeros behind that, maybe. I don't know about this. I've never seen her skate. I know you're going to have one of the great all-time rivalries between Calvello and Weston when Annie comes out. Naturally, you got Ken Monty coaching from the infield, who's one of the greatest tacticians of this game that ever was and ever will be, probably. And then you got Woodbury, who's one of the all-time all-star. He's made every all-star team since he's been skating.
You know, you mentioned that match race, or you didn't really mention the match race. You mentioned the rivalry between Ann Calvello and Joan Weston. They will meet on the 10th of June in Chicago's International Amphitheater, 4 laps blocking, Joan Weston versus Ann Calvello. And I kind of hope they have the roof with extra supports that night, because that figures to be something.
It should be. It should be one of the best match races of the year. They've always hassled pretty well amongst themselves, you know, and they've both been skating for a long time. I don't want to start quoting years. I don't know if they want that, but they've both been on a bank track for many, many years, and they're both great. And it's a toss-up as to who will win it, you know, really is. I'd like to see Joni win it, but then again, you can never tell what Calvello's going to do.
Nick, whenever you talk about Bob Woodbury, you're talking about a very, very proficient skater who's got the big size and is willing to go out there and dish it out a little bit. He's very physical. That's the way he likes to play the game. That's the way he has always played the game, and I'm sure that the series in the Midwest with the Pioneers in June will be no different. Nevertheless, Bob Hine told me that he felt Bob Woodbury could be rattled, if that's the right term, that if you could get this guy thinking about other things, you could begin to decrease his overall ability.
He can be distracted very, very easily, especially if he's always watching the outside of the track. In other words, like if he's in the center of the track blocking, he's always watching the outside for any type of move. And if you're up there dancing around on him, you don't even have to come near him. He's going to start watching you, and he'll forget about that jammer. And he's done that for years and years, and we're waiting to catch him with it.
Nick, thank you, buddy.
Okay, you're quite welcome, Chet.
Our guest has been Nick Skopas. Don't forget, big second half coming up. For Don Drury and myself, I'm Chet Kopic. Goodbye, everybody.
Don Drury, along with Chet Kopic, calling the action for today's game from the Hammond Civic Center. Hammond, Indiana, the home of the Pioneers. The competition between the Pioneers and the Chiefs. This is the 5th period. Second half with a score. The Chiefs 28, the Pioneers 26. Let's go down trackside and pick up the action. The pack being reformed. Both teams at full strength, fielding 5 skaters each. Out of today's lineup, women's captain Joan Weston. She'll be returning within just a few days. She received a slight injury to the knee, and she is resting up. Out of the lineup for the Chiefs, with a slight shoulder injury, is Judy McGuire. Also with a slight knee injury, Debbie Thompson. The back form now. The whistle sounding. The Jammers make their way forward, trying to start the scoring option. Number 50, Rita Williams, moving out for the Pioneers. Number 42, Bogey Truman on the move for the Chiefs. 1-1 on the play. Truman moves to the inside, comes up, series of elbow blocks coming out of that turn. Another elbow block thrown back, right to the inside, shoulder block. Williams gets away from the block, stays on her skates. 1-1 remains on the jam. Williams to the inside, forearm block thrown in. Elbow block into Truman now, shoulder block, Truman put down. The Chiefs now without a jammer on the play as Truman has been taken back into the pack, staggered again. Number 50, Rita Williams moving in, and Sandy Dunn sending Truman back to do the blocking. Truman waving Williams in, elbow block to the outside. Another one thrown back. Williams again attempting to score for the Pioneers. Check. Coming out of the Pioneer turn, put down. The Pioneers putting the brakes on the front of that back. Again, Williams dump. Dunn keeping Darlene Forbes up in that pack. A solid wall of green jerseys preventing any of the Pioneers from coming back to assist. Forearm block again back by Truman. And time runs out. No score. No score. There is a 1-minute penalty blocking after the jam. Number 42, Hoagie Truman.
And as you mentioned, Joan Weston, of course, out of the lineup for this game, but don't worry about the blonde Amazon. She will be back pronto. And we'd like to mention to you, Pioneer fans, as we mentioned in the first half, the Pioneers have acquired in trade Larry Smith and Francine Cochu. That's right, Smith and Francine Cochu from the Jolters. They will join the Pioneers for their series with the Red Devils. Don't forget, you fans, in Chicago, Saturday, June 10th. And on June 22nd, Pioneers, Red Devils, only 2 June dates in the amphitheater. Don, pick it up.
Jammer's going out. It's 48, Barbara Baker, but it's Dunn and Moreland double teaming Forbes with the rear net back. Blocks thrown in. Chief Jammer scrambling inside. The jam called off. The official decision. There were 2 cheap points scored. 2 cheap points picked up on the play. Skaters scrambling up on the rail. Forbes is down. The play is over. And Jones jumping in. Official right on top. The Chiefs increase their lead to 4 points, 30-26. There's a 1-minute penalty. Barbara Baker kicking, and the Chiefs will field 4. Forbes still down, being attended to by the trainer, who's looking at her from outside the track. Chet, many exciting games coming up between this fantastic Pioneer club, again with the addition of Francine Cochu and Larry Smith. Already a great roster. Joan Weston, Candy Jones, Bob Hine, Ronnie Robinson, Nick Scopus, and John Rice. And those games will be played June 22nd, the Chicago Amphitheater. Saturday, June 23rd, Crown Point, Indiana, the Crown Point High School. Sunday, June 24th, South Bend, Indiana, at Notre Dame. Monday, June 25th, the Central High School Fieldhouse, Platte River, Missouri. And Thursday, June 28th, Delphi Community High School in Delphi, Indiana. Jammers out, moving on the play. 50, Rita Williams. She's out number 2-1, along with Linda Sacco and Hoagie Truman. 51, Lana Kasanovic coming up for the Pioneers now, but she's about a quarter of a lap back behind the lead Jammers. Forbes back with a block. Sacco slowed down. Williams moves in, still thinking she's out number 2-1. Cut the jam off, no score.
Don't forget, if you'd like to have a game scheduled in your area and you have a gym at a high school or a college or an arena that seats more than 2,500 people, write to bookings, P.O. Box 1827, Oakland, California, 94604 on the zip code. Like to get some outdoor dates this summer, Don. Getting those big outdoor places, some of the ballparks, some of the great college auditoriums all throughout the Midwest, the East, and the Far West.
Well, to tell you, Chet, there are many, many exciting games coming up. Games just like the one you're seeing here today. The Pioneers and the Chiefs will be on a Northwest tour. July 23rd, they'll be in Eureka, California. July 25th, Coos Bay, Oregon. July 26th, Portland, Oregon. July 27th, they'll be at the University of Puget Sound in Tacoma, Washington. And July 28th, Bellingham, Washington, at the Ice Arena. Skaters out and moving. This jam in progress. Moreland, Truman, double block. Dunn coming up, taken down by her own teammates as Forbes goes right through the middle of a double block. A lot of weight, a lot of speed, and a little bit of extra drive, pushing her right through the middle of a double block. Dunn unable to get out of the way as the skaters went down. Sandy Dunn now trying to get a jammer out. The Chiefs going into a pull away. It's Dunn, Baker, Truman, Sacco, Moreland. Forbes on the end of this pull away. Teammates trying to assist her. Neibauer back with a whip. Forbes additional speed, trying to close. Eric reaching back now. Forbes again moving up. Skaters coming up out of the Chief turn. Dunn dropping back. Squats low. Side step by Forbes. Forbes still going. Moreland dropping back now. Time running short. And time has run out, but not before one Pioneer point by Darlene Forbes was picked up on the play.
The Blarney Stone, Darlene Forbes, moving as well as we've seen her move that bulk all season long. Getting it together for the Pioneers. Don't forget Pioneers Chiefs on that Northwest tour. July 31st, Seattle. August 1st, Spokane, Washington at the Coliseum. August 2nd, Yakima, Washington. And And August 3rd, they round it out. They finish it all up in Walla Walla, Washington. Pioneers and Chiefs, get your tickets early.
This will be the only opportunity they'll have to see the Chiefs and the Pioneers this summer, so they really suggest that you get your tickets just as soon as possible. Two great clubs. This period coming to a conclusion now. The score at the end of the 5th skating period. The Chiefs 30, the Pioneers 27.
Back we are for number 6, Chet Kopic, along with Don Drury. Fast and exciting will it be. The color and glamour and the glitter of the IRDL. Competition in action, the Pioneers and the Chiefs. And out moves the man with the pivot helmet, number 49 in the green and gold jersey. That is the coach who took over for Buddy Atkinson Sr., Bill Grohl of the Chiefs. And here comes Ronnie Robinson moving out to challenge Grohl as we take a portrait study of John Rice on his backside on the bank track. And down like Rice goes Captain Ronnie of the Pioneers. 11:26 remaining here in number 6. Chiefs 30, Pioneers 27. And during the interval between number 5 and number 6, the fans were yelling, "We want a referee." But I can't buy their thinking. I think Lou Donovan and Dave Cannella have done an excellent job in calling this game. Two fiercely competitive clubs. Now the action pick up. Here comes Grohl. He'll test Robinson up high with the elbow. Robinson measures it. Here comes the cartilage again. 3 times.
Penalty on Robinson.
And there will be a
illegal blocking, more than 20 feet behind the pack.
Ronnie Robinson did not stay within 20 feet of the pack as Bill Grohl goes to work. Robinson off with the helmet.
Just flying down in that turn, Chet. Grohl and Robinson separated by the officials.
Ronnie Robinson was called for the 20-foot rule. The jam was concluded. 1 point for the Eastern Chiefs. Then the outbreak. Grohl went to work with Robinson. And don't forget, you fans back in the Midwest, the Pioneers and Red Devils. Tuesday, June 12th, Grand Rapids Auditorium in Michigan, 8 p.m. start. They'll tee it up here in Hammond. June 13th on Wednesday at the Civic Center. Here comes that chant, the big mob in Hammond. There you see him, yelling, "We want a referee." It is first with just a little bit of "Go Pioneers, go." Bill Hill leads out the locomotive, and here comes the matchup. Here comes the classic matchup. Mike Gammon, who has led this great league in scoring the past 2 years, moves out with Scopus. Scopus inside with the elbow at the Pioneer turn, seizes the skating advantage. The lone jamming threats on this play. And Gammon has been called for something, I believe. Either that or warned. Now he moves up backside. He'll test Bill Hill. The conference in progress, and Ronnie Robinson is screaming at the official about something. Bob Hine moves back, connects with the elbow on Mike Gammon. Again. 9:12 remaining. We're in period number 6, 7, and 8 coming up. Again with the elbow, then with the knee. Pointing the football helmet, and down goes Mike Gammon. Not much jam time remaining. Little Mike will try it again. This great speedster, the 13-year veteran. And we're out of time. The hands have been outstretched. There will be no points on this play. And Don, that conference continues between Ronnie Robinson and Lou Donovan. You know what it's all about.
Yes, Chad, I saw the official call out there. Robinson had picked up a penalty for fighting with or illegal blocking prior to this jam. He was then in the penalty box. The Pioneers had Nick Scopus out on the jam, but they were fielding 5 skaters. So they picked up an automatic team penalty for fielding too many skaters. And as the ruling goes, the lead jammer is flagged from the track. Well, Scopus was the lead jammer. That's why he was flagged off. And the Pioneers will field 3 skaters until Robinson comes out and then until Scopus comes out.
A golden opportunity for the Eastern Chiefs, as they will have the manpower advantage. There are 4 Pioneer skaters on the track at the moment. 5 skaters wearing the green and gold, and out come 2 of them joined by a Pioneer. That's Perez out first, followed by Johnny the Hummer Harmada for the Pioneers, and John Early now moves ahead of Harmada. The Chiefs with the skating edge. Here comes the whip. As we study action in the penalty box, Scopus and Robinson wearing their forlorn looks of dejection. Here comes Early. Grohl going to work on Johnny Rice. A weight advantage, and Early moves on through with no trouble whatsoever. Here comes Grohl. They'll go to work on the country boy. He's out of commission. Now Early puts the hands on the hips, and there will be 3 points on this play. A triplicate for the Eastern Chiefs. And at the 7-minute mark, the Pioneers find themselves on the short side, but good.
You can hear those Pioneer fans in the background yelling for their team right now, Chet. Great support here in Hammond, Indiana.
Tremendous support down all throughout the Midwest. The fans here love their Pioneers. Don't forget, Pioneers Red Devils, Friday, June 15th. Municipal Auditorium, Kansas City, Missouri. Saturday, June 16th, Kiel Auditorium, St. Louis, Missouri. A match race that night in St. Louis. Joan, Weston, and Ann Calvello. Oh, baby, is that going to be something? Sunday, June 17th, Mid-South Coliseum in Memphis. Here they come. The prowl has begun. Larry Lee moves out. Bald Eagle Hind right behind him. 6:30 remaining here in number 6. Chiefs 34, Pioneers 27. On the basketball floor is Larry Lee. Bob Hind has got Ronnie Robinson up front. He's got Bill Hill up front. And moving out of the jam now is Mike Gammon for the Eastern Chiefs. Robinson going to work on Tiapula. Pioneers on the scoreboard. Lou Donovan warning Robinson about something. Now Hind will test Bill Grohl. Robinson remains back in a defensive stance. Grohl with the elbows. Crunch. You can feel it up here. And the fans in Hammond come down to a whisper. Finally, play has been called off, and the result, one very, very important point for the Midwest Pioneer. Don, every fan should have a copy of Roller Derby Rules.
Yes, they should, Chet. An easy way to get it is just to send a postcard to Rules, Roller Derby, Post Office Box 1828, Oakland, California, 94604. Be sure and include your zip code number and the station on which you are now watching this program.
The regrouping begins. We should bring you fans up to date once again. Number 53, jersey 5-3 for the Pioneers is Johnny Harmata. Number 56, another new fella, Frank Williams. So some new faces here for the red, white, and blue. And the jam is underway. The wheels begin to hum. Out comes Johnny Early sporting the beard. Right behind him, Joe Perez. In comes Harmata for the Pioneers. Harmata breaks up the whip. Early extended the right hand and tried to send his teammate Perez out. Early went down, Perez remains. Now we got a good one-on-one. Here's a couple of kids who can start the oil movement. Grohl up high, check block. Oh, baby! Oh, out of nowhere came Bill Grohl. And the result is 1 point for the Midwest Pioneers, and Grohl appears to be shaken up. Fans in Hammond are on their feet. Bill Grohl went to work to assist his teammate Joe Perez. And Johnny Harmata, the kid they call the Hummer, managed to utilize that great body control of his to bypass the situation. And now with 4:20 remaining in number 6, the Pioneers have cut that margin down to 5 at 34-29. And Don Drury, this is just a sampling of the great action fans in the Northwest are going to see in the month of July.
Anytime they see these two clubs together, you're going to see this kind of rugged competition. Grohl still down, apparently maybe out. He's still laying down there on the track. He's being assisted off of the track by Lou Donovan, the official, and the trainer. Many, many exciting games, just like the one you're seeing. Coming up, Eureka, California, July 23rd. Coos Bay, Oregon, July 25th. Portland, Oregon, July 26th. The University of Puget Sound in Tacoma, July 27th. Bellingham, Washington at the Ice Arena, July 28th. We'll get back to a few more of those games coming up in just a moment.
We certainly hope there is nothing wrong with Bill Grohl. Here comes Gammon and Skopas. Gammon leading out the parade. Now Skopas goes inside, sets up for the elbow, and seizes the skating advantage. Bill Grohl off the Eastern Chiefs is like Joe Namath off the New York Jets. It's trouble. You've got to have that man in the lineup. He's the coach. He's the inspiration. Now Gammon moves inside. Good work by Sam Tiapula. Bob Hind faces a difficult situation. He'll try to ward off the threat of Mike Gammon. With the elbow, the bald eagle with the football helmet comes up high with that leg. Sends the calf spinning into the jaw of little Mike Gammon. The gentleman rancher with the 113-acre estate in California. Gammon, nothing yet. Skopas, same story. We stay at 34-29, 2:47 remaining in number 6. Here comes little Nicky. Gammon has been ridden out of the play. Hind sets it up on Tiapula. 1 point Pioneers. And the hands go on the hips. The signal from referee Dave Cannella and his partner Lou Donovan also indicates with one finger that the Pioneers have got the lights working. They are on the scoreboard. Chiefs 34, Pioneers 30.
Bill Grohl still shaking up down there, Chet.
If any of you fans have a question about roller derby, Pioneers, Chiefs, Jolters, Devils, whatever, I'll do my best to help you out. Drop me a card or a letter, care of NES, 300 North State Street, Chicago, Illinois, 60610.
Back being regrouped right now. Gammon forced to come back into the lineup in the absence of Grohl. Gammon, the men's captain, really a firefighter out here of all skaters. Spark plug of this team, a man who really initiates a lot of this go from the Chiefs.
Here comes Perez. How about the guy who's given the Pioneers some inspiration in this game, who's given them a pretty good lift? That's Johnny Harmada, a tight shot. Shows you the speed, what this game is all about. Speeds up to 40 miles an hour on the bank track. It's a very simple game. Get yourself a copy of the rules. Get Roller Derby Illustrated. Get on the mailing list. Become a super fan. This game is the sport of the 70s, and Ronnie Robinson goes to work, and down goes Joe Perez. Out front in the pack. Plenty of action as usual. That's the land of the Giants. Here comes the challenge once again. Joe Perez moving into your picture along with Sam Tiapula. Ronnie Robinson facing what he faces so many times, a 2-on-1 situation. Perez, nothing yet. Here comes Johnny Rice moving into the play. He'll try to go to work offensively. Pioneers could use 4 points. They need 4 points. Down goes Perez. Robinson and Tiapula. 1 point, Pioneers. And Don, there was an example of the value of Ronnie Robinson, who was able to shift his game instantly from defense to offense, give the assist to John Rice, and that margin has been cut.
It certainly has, Chet. By only 3 points, 34-31. This is the type of action the fans in the Northwest are going to see. July 30th, Aquarium, Washington. July 31st, the Chiefs and the Pioneers in Seattle. Again, we point out Joan Weston will be back on the lineup, and they'll be adding Larry Smith and Francine Koshu. July 2nd, Yakima, Washington, and, August 2nd is Yakima, Washington. August 1st is Spokane, and August 3rd, Walla Walla, Washington. That ends up the Northwest Tour.
We're counting down the time here at number 6. 3, 2, 1. It's in the books. 7 coming up. 24 minutes of regulation time remaining. And with the score, the Eastern Chiefs 34 and the Midwest Pioneers 31. Let's pause for a moment. The traditional tag-off has been completed as Darlene Forbes and Sandy Dunn begin to exchange the bad eyes. A couple of long-time rivals will bring you fans up to date momentarily. The first opportunity we get about the big Pioneers Red Devils series in June with 2 dates, June 10th and June 22nd in Chicago's International Amphitheater. On the 10th, Joan Weston and Calvello, 4 laps blocking in a match race. Here come the pint-sized dynamites. Toki Truman for the Chiefs out of the 40 series with jersey number 42, and Rita Williams, number 50, 5-0 for the Midwest Pioneers, who trail in this game in the 7th period at the 11-minute mark, 34-31. Williams connects. Here comes Sandy Dunn. Here comes Sandy Dunn. Fierce look on her face, goes to work, and sets it up for teammate Truman, who now gains the skating edge around the Pioneer turn. The Midwest Club will probably resort to playing strictly defense in this situation. They have nothing out at the moment, and the Chief girls, as you see, are doing yeoman work, slowing down the Pioneer skaters. Adjusting the helmet. Here comes Truman once again. Rita Williams connects. Truman up again. Forbes and Dunn battling with each other in the pack. 2-1. This jam is history. The hands have been outstretched. No points on the play. Don, how about some of those dates?
Oh, Chet, there aren't a whole lot that the people are going to get to see right in this area. And this tremendous Pioneer team is going to be facing a rough competitive club led by Ken Monty, the Red Devils. Monty coaching from the infield, one of the greatest minds in the skating game that they've ever had. He's sending the man out there on the track that's probably one of the roughest competitors of the game. That's Bob Woodbury, backed up along with Bob Sievers. Women's captain Ann Calvello, along with Rosetta Saunders, JoJo Stafford. Dates coming up June 22nd, Chicago at the Amphitheater. Saturday, June 23rd, Crown Point, Indiana. Sunday, June 24th, South Bend, Indiana, Notre Dame. Monday, June 25th, the Central High School Fieldhouse in Flat River, Missouri. And the final game of that series, Thursday, June 28th, Delphi Community High School in Delphi, Indiana.
The jam is underway, and there you saw the exertion of Indian power. The green and gold of the Eastern Chiefs went to work. Down went Candy Jones, and once again, the Pioneers will move out on this play with no scoring threat. Here comes Kasanovich, but she's got a long way to go. Chief girls, people like Dunn and Saka were trying to slow it down. Here comes Moreland. Here comes Baker. Candy the Dandy Jones, working with the striped helmet, trying to ward off this offensive opportunity on the part of the Chiefs. 9:08 remaining in number 7. Moreland again. Here comes Barb Baker. She'll try it. Sandy Dunn rides Jones out of the play, and there will be 2 points. Sandy Dunn slowed her pace down just momentarily. Got it all back together. And the result is that Chief margin has been increased. They now lead at 36-31.
Yeah, we point out that the Pioneers and the Chiefs are going to be in the Northwest for a very, very short series there, Chet. July 31st, the Chiefs and the Pioneers, the same rugged competition that you're seeing today, will again be seen live July 31st in Seattle, Washington. August 1st, Spokane, Washington at the Coliseum. August 2nd, Yakima, Washington. And on August 3rd, the conclusion of that series in Walla Walla, Washington.
Barbara Baker getting on the scoreboard on that last play. That's from my town, Chicago, Illinois. 5'5", 125 pounds. Now out of the jam. The little kids again. Here comes Pokey Truman, testing Rita Williams. Williams moves inside, comes up with that elbow with the basketball pad, and Rita Williams has got some freedom. Now she'll look for help from people like Forbes and Neibauer and Candy Jones. Only scoring threat on this play. 7:43 remaining. We're in number 7, 8 coming up. The men will finish off the day's activities. 1 point Pioneers. Truman misses. Now Williams will face Sandy Dunn with no help. She moves inside. Dunn beckons her teammate. Dunn connects again. The windup and the pitch. Williams moves on through. Sandy Dunn, just a little bit casual. And the result is that Rita Williams has moved the Pioneers within striking distance at 36-33. And don't forget, Pioneers Red Devils, Tuesday, June 12th, Grand Rapids Auditorium, Michigan, 8 p.m. start. Wednesday, June 13th, Hammond Civic Center right here in Hammond. We start at 8, children's half price. Tickets available at all the Ticketron outlets. Friday, June 16th, Municipal Auditorium, Pioneers Red Devils with Woodbury and Calvello in Kansas City, Missouri. June 16th on a Saturday, the schedule continues. Kiel Auditorium, St. Louis, Missouri. Match race, Joan, Weston, and Ann Calvello. Sunday, June 17th, Mid-South Coliseum in Memphis. Tuesday, June 19th, Memorial Auditorium in Chattanooga, Tennessee. And on the 20th, Civic Coliseum, Pioneers Devils in Knoxville. Wednesday, June 20th, Carolyn Moreland has a striped helmet out. She is moved out, along with Barb Baker. Candy Jones of the Pioneers locked in the middle. 2-on-1. Oh, baby, look at that move by little Candy Jones. Brings the fans in Hammond up and to their feet. Not often that you're going to fool two skaters with the style and class of Baker and Moreland, but it happened that time. And now the Pioneers can begin to sense it. They're close. They're within striking distance. 3 points here. We've got ourselves a tie score. But Candy, I see that Sandy Dunn has now moved out. Darlene Forbes moves to assist her teammate. Right hand on left. Jones trying to move through. Off the 360, she has scored. A deuce. 2 points for the Midwest Pioneers, and now our score. The Pioneers 36, the Chiefs 35.
You're interested in getting information on the games coming up in your area, and most fans watching this game certainly will be. Send a postcard to mailing list, Roller Derby, Post Office Box 1828, Oakland, California, 94604. Be sure to include your zip code number and the station on which you are now watching this program. We'll get the information out to you for the games coming up in your area so that you'll have first-hand advance information.
Firing overtime. The girls have got 4 minutes and 40 seconds of work remaining. Out first for the Chiefs, a club that always seems to get that first skater out. Here comes Pokey Truman once again, right behind her. Her constant combatant, Rita Williams. Williams goes to work with the hands, using them like a cleaver. And right now she's the lone scoring threat, but she may be joined momentarily by Sandy Dunn. And now Dunn is elected to send out Truman once again. The diminutive threat of Rita Williams, who with 1 point could send this game into a tie. Sandy Dunn trying to prevent such an occurrence. Now the Chiefs with a threat, trying to increase their margin. Sherry Eric out of the pivot. Dunn will go to work on Sherry. Eric takes the knee, stunned, up and on the railing. The Chiefs are on the scoreboard. And they are on the scoreboard, but good. The lights have been lit. Lou Donovan puts the hands in the air. And our score now, Chiefs 38, the Pioneers 35. Dan, how much more excitement could you ask for?
Not too much. I think more excitement would have to be the jamming between either a Judy McGuire, who isn't here this evening, and a Candy Jones. And to tell you the truth, I really expected to see more jamming with Candy Jones and Carolyn Moreland, but Dunn seems to elect the young rookie out there tonight. Can't argue with them too much. They're on top right now, 38-35, with 3 minutes, 10 seconds remaining here in the 7th period.
The Pioneers, of course, that we mentioned, have acquired in trade Larry Smith and Francine Cochou from the Jolters. The great Larry Smith and Francine Cochou, certain to add great depth to this Pioneer club. The Chiefs on top by 3. Here comes Kasanovich for the Pioneers. Jersey number 51, Little Lana. They call her the Dart back in Chicago. Sandy Dunn trying to hold off her offensive threat. Barbara Baker moving out for the green and gold. You have 2 jammers and a pivot skater out and moving on this play. Back in the pack, Carolyn Moreland. Out of the pivot. Goes up high, down, go 3 skaters, but the Pioneers are on the scoreboard. And Sandy Dunn and Carolyn Moreland going to work.
And they're starting to fly out there now, Chet. Fisk, Dunn, and Forbes.
Came. Sandy Dunn holding onto that jaw as once again Darlene Forbes comes by with a belt. And as we approach the 1 minute mark, you can bet there are going to be some penalties evolving from this situation. Primarily a skating game, but the tempers on a couple of occasions have really flared but good. Under 1 minute, and the scoreboard reads, Chiefs 38, Pioneers 36. Sandy Dunn is moving into the penalty box, along with Carolyn Moreland. Darlene Forbes will take a sit for the Pioneers. Rita Williams is out for the Midwest Club, along with Sherry Eric and Sue Neibauer. And I believe we're going to go 3-on-3. Yes, we will. With 30 seconds remaining. 3 skaters on each side. The result of penalties due to that outbreak of the physical stuff. Williams is out first for the Pioneers, along with Truman, minus the helmet. Rita goes to work. Truman rebounds. Williams again. I know. Down she goes. And the fans at Hammond are on their feet as we cut off the time in number 7.
Olin coming out there on the track. And the official right on top.
At the end of 7, with number 8 coming up, Sandy Dunn showing it out with Lou Donovan. Action everywhere as Rita Williams went to work on Pokey Truman. A rivalry that's existed throughout this game. With the score, the Chiefs 38, the Pioneers 36. Let's take time out.
Drury along with Chet Comic calling the game today from the Hammond Civic Center, Hammond, Indiana. The score, the Chiefs 38, the Pioneers 36. This is the 8th period, the final period of this game. The Chiefs with 2 jammers on the move. 47, John Early. 43, Joe Perez. The Pioneers with 53, John Harmata out. Both teams shorthanded due to the fight at the end of the last period. Sam Tiapula going to work on the Pioneer at the rear of the pack. Skater being tied up. I believe that to be John Rice back there. Early moves in. Rice being taken back by Tiapula. Early alternating on John Harmata, giving his teammate an ample time to score now. An opportunity to the inside. The jammer moves in, calls it off. There were 2 Chief points picked up. And the Chiefs now lead by 4, 40-36. Exciting action coming your way. 2 fantastic clubs, the Chiefs and the Pioneers.
And don't forget, Don, for all those fans out in the East, Chiefs and Red Devils, August 5th, a special summer series. August 5th, Chiefs and Woodbury and the Devils, Comac, New York, Long Island Arena. August 6th, Broome County Memorial Arena in Binghamton. August 8th, Syracuse at the War Memorial Auditorium. On the 9th, Glens Falls, New York, Glens Falls Senior High School Gym.
That's right, Chet. The fans in the East did not have an opportunity to see the Red Devils last season. This is a very short summer tour for the Chiefs, and they're coming in against the Red Devils led by Ken Monty, Bob Woodbury, and Cal Bello. Jammers going out. It's Nick Scopus and Mike Gammon, 2 of the best of these teams. Scopus and Gammon on the move. Mike Gammon takes the lead, mid-captain of the Chiefs. Scopus, the coach of the Pioneers. 2 very fast and agile jammers. Gammon comes back with a block, trying to throw Scopus off balance to build up a little bit of speed. Now picks up the pace. 2 jammers moving in. Tiapula and Bob Hine back to the blocking. Gammon makes a charge to the outside, slows down, moves to the inside, comes back to the outside. Nick Scopus stopped by Sam Tiapula at the rear. Both jammers again moving in. Tiapula again back with a block. Gammon backs off. Scopus comes in. Gammon with a block. Puts him down. Tiapula back to lead away. Chiefs going to a power play. Gammon squats low. A jam called off. The official decision, there were 4 more. Chief points picked up. The Chiefs now lead 44-36 over the Pioneers. 9 minutes, 30 seconds remain in the game.
Mike Gammon named to the Eastern and Western Season All-Star squads last year. And don't forget, August 11th, the Red Devils and the Chiefs in New York City at the tremendous Felt Forum. Now that's in Madison Square Garden at the Felt Forum. It's a small building, seats 4,000. And I know, Don Drury, you can attest to the fact that the sight lines at the Felt Forum are nothing short of fabulous. It's the best place in the world to watch a game.
It's almost like being on the track yourself. And we point out again, there are only 4,000 seats. You'd better get them in advance. There is only 1 game back there this summer, and against the Red Devils, a team that you haven't seen all year long. The pack reorganized now. The whistle sounds. The jammers move up. It's 53. John Harmata out for the Pioneers. 47. John Early out for the Chiefs. Secondary jammers. Perez and Hine take it back in. Harmata dumped on the play. The Chiefs now with the only scoring threat out moving. Number 47, John Early. All 5 Pioneers kept in the pack by a solid wall of green and gold jerseys at the front. Early moving in a scoring position in the rear. Bob Hine sent back defensively for the Midwest Club. Early making a move, moving up to the outside, slows down, looking for the right opportunity. Early moves in, down the straightaway, shoulder block by Hine, sets him up, slows him down. Rice trying to get a jammer out, now breaking out with the blockers. Pioneers going into a pull away. It's Rice, Harmata, Scopus, Hill, and Bob Hine. Early whip forward by Grohl. Larry Lee reaching back now. Lee with a whip. Early trying to close that gap. He's got Perez and Turbin to lead the way up for him. Not much time remaining in the jam. Three-man whip, too much speed. Early, too much speed going down. The Pioneers now moving around. Early getting up. The jam called off. The jam called off. No score on the play.
The only route to success in the International Roller Derby League is the training school. And the Pioneer Training School, in response to literally thousands of requests, is open and in progress at Chicago's amphitheater. For information on the Pioneer Training Center at Chicago's amphitheater, call 376-7050. If you're sincere, it's the place to be. And even if you think maybe, why not give it a crack? Who knows? You may become a superstar.
Chad, as we mentioned, the Red Devils with Ken Monty as their coach, Bob Woodbury, Bob Sievers, and Cal Bello. And, of course, Rosetta Saunders going back to these, a very short series, once only during the summer. August the 12th, the Chiefs and the Red Devils will be at the RPI Fieldhouse in Troy, New York. Always a sellout there. Get your tickets in advance. This jam underway. Larry Lee out for the Chiefs. Bob Hine out with a jammer's helmet on for the Pioneers. Pioneers trailing by 8 points. Lee taken down, and Hine is now on the move. Bob Hine now with that scoring option. He's got about a half a lap lead over Larry Lee, who's back up and moving again. Pioneer fans starting to yell for this team as they've got that jammer in contention. Hine moves in. Giapula back with a block. Block to the outside. Hine slowed down. Robinson forced to drop back defensively. Larry Lee moving up now. Lee moves in. Slowed down by Robinson. Another block thrown back. Hine checked back again by Giapula. Robinson set and waiting. Lee moves up. Hine again trying to score. Giapula back with a shoulder block again. Both jammers with a rough job at the rear and back. It's been a rough game all the way through, and both teams starting to show a little sign of fatigue. Again, Hine stopped to the outside. Robinson sends the skater into the rail. Robinson moving up, spinning Hine around on the inside. Bob Hine still going. Now forced to call the jam off as Lee came up again. One more Pioneer point picked up on the play.
Don't forget, you fans along the Pioneer Network, during the next several weeks, so you can get a taste of what this great Red Devil Club is all about. You will see the Red Devils in action against the Bay Bombers. And don't forget, Pioneers Red Devils in Chicago's International Amphitheater, Saturday, June 10th. Joan Weston versus Ann Calvello, 4 laps blocking. And Friday, June 22nd, Pioneers and Devils. After that, you will not see the Midwest Pioneers for roughly 4 months. So get your tickets early at all the Ticketron outlets. Red Devils led by Ken Monty. Their great infield coach, Bob Woodbury, and Calvello, Bobby Seaver, Rosetta Saunders, JoJo Stafford, and 240-pound female Samoan superstar, Aloha Linda Villanueva.
Jam again underway, but it's the Chiefs with the jammers out on top. 43, Joe Perez. Number 59, Johnny Rice, putting out of that pack for the Pioneers. Rice putting the pressure on, gaining with every step he takes, moving up out of that Pioneer turn down the straightaway. Rice making a fast move to the Chief turn. Cross-arm block, shoulder block, Perez down. Robinson back to lead the way. Skater being worked on in that pack, John Early. Giapula drops back defensively. Harmonis and turning into the rail. Back up and moving again. Perez again moving into scoring position. Rice looking to pick up additional points. Robinson blocked. Giapula taken out. Rice through, and they score. 2 more Pioneer points picked up. John Rice scoring the assist. Harmona and Robinson. The gap closed to 5 points, 44-39. 4 minutes, 20 seconds remains in the game.
And don't forget, get your subscription to Roller Derby Illustrated. 24 big issues a year. You can't be without it. And to get your free copy, send your name to Roller Derby Illustrated, Box 17, GPO, New York 10001. Allow a little bit of time for them to get back to you. Don't be impatient. They'll get that free copy to you. Pick up on Roller Derby Illustrated.
A pack reorganized. The fans here in Hammond yelling for their team, down by 5. The jammer's coming up. It's Mike Gammon. Scopus on the move for the Pioneers. Look at these 2 men take off. Gammon picking up the pace, trying to run on those skates. Scopus moving to the inside, going for the lead. Both skaters side by side, out of the turn, down the straightaway. Gammon to the outside. Scopus to the inside. Both jammers already moving into the run of pack, into scoring position. Bob Hine back there, a double block to Gammon, take down. Scopus over the top, and they score. 2 more Pioneer points picked up on the play.
Coach Nick Scopus picking up 2 very valuable points for the Midwest Pioneers as we approach the 3-minute mark. Don't forget, Pioneers Devils, Tuesday, June 12th, Grand Rapids Auditorium, Michigan, 8 p.m. Wednesday, June 13th, right here in the Hammond Civic Center in Hammond. At 8 p.m. start, kids are half price. Friday, June 15th, Municipal Auditorium in Kansas City, Missouri. Don Drury, fans in Hammond picking it up. We've got something going.
They sure do, and this is the kind of action they're going to see in New York when the Chiefs return home for a very short summer series against the Red Devils. It'll be Kingston, New York. The Diaz Memorial Stadium, August 13th. Clifton, New Jersey, August 14th. Springfield, Massachusetts, August 17th, and the end of the series, August 18th at the Long Island Arena. John Rice, Joe Perez on the jam, sidestep. Perez taking now, Rice on the move. Second ever drive by Joe Perez. After going down, he's burned up a lot of energy tonight. He's up and moving again. Bill Grohl finally back in that lineup. Scopus yelling to his teammate to pour it on. Rice moves down the stretch, sidesteps, goal! They scored, still going. Perez coming in, Rice with a lead, it's called off. The official decision, the jam was called off too soon for the second point, but there was one Pioneer point picked up on the play.
As we move on to the 2-minute mark, Saturday, June 16th, Peel Auditorium, St. Louis, Missouri. Pioneers, Red Devils, match race, Joan, Weston, and Calvello. Sunday, June 17th, Mid-South Coliseum in Memphis. Tuesday, June 19th, Memorial Auditorium in Chattanooga.
Again, we remind you, a very short series between the Chiefs and the Red Devils back in the East. Don't forget, the Felt Forum, 4,000 seats only in that building. Make sure you get your tickets in advance. And the concluding game at the Long Island Arena, Nassau, August 18th. Bob Hine out, followed by Gammon. Chiefs on top by 2. Hine pouring it on. Power play by the Pioneers. Hine inside, he scores. There were 2 Pioneer points scored by Hine. The fans standing in ovation for Bob Hine. The score tied, 44-44. 1 minute, 10 seconds left to go in the game. We'll be talking with Mike Gammon at the end of this game in a special interview. Be sure and stay tuned for that. The Pioneer fans rallying for their team now. Less than a minute to go. If the jam starts, it runs the full 60 seconds. Score tied, 44-44. All the fans standing here in the building. Pivot skaters going to the front. Blockers in the middle. Jammers in the rear. The whistle sounds. Jammers again make their way forward. New York, the Chiefs with Perez and get big. Scopus for the Pioneers. Scopus out number 2 to 1. Robinson coming out. Grohl on the move. Scopus in. Take down both. Both of the Chiefs. Tremendous battle going on. Scopus is back up and moving again. Grohl out number 2 to 1. Sidestep by Robinson. Scopus misses Grohl. 20 seconds of regulation time, about 35 in jam. Both pivot skaters on the move, but Robinson is already in the rear. A double block, Robinson take it back. Perez going out, Ronnie Robinson out, number 2 to 1. Grohl moves in, Robinson blocks, skate it down. Robinson still going, goes to the outside. Jam called off as he scores. There were 3 Pioneer points scored by Ronnie Robinson. Tremendous Pioneer drive to the finish. You can see the fans standing up here. You can see them all standing. Tremendous victory for the Pioneers, and that means they have not lost a series all season, tying this series with the Chiefs 7-7. Tremendous support and a handshake going on between Mike Gammon and Ronnie Robinson down on the infield.
With the final score, the Midwest Pioneers 47, the Chiefs 44. Interviews coming up.
This is Don Drury along with Mike Gammon, the men's captain of the Eastern Chiefs. Mike, tremendous game tonight. You didn't win, but it was a very, very close game all the way down to the last few seconds up there. The final score 47-44, and that means the Pioneers are undefeated in any season throughout this entire season. Any tribulation to this evening's game as a loss or a win?
Well, naturally, I would say we had them, really. We had them for the whole first half. We come off with about a 4 or 5 point lead at the half. When Bill got hurt there in the last period, or going into the last period, it really, our blocking really just couldn't hold up to it at that point. You know, they're carrying good blockers, and they got good jammers, you know. So that was really the turning point for them as far as that's concerned.
Yeah, also in the women's field, we know that Joan Weston was out, but then on the Chief team, Judy McGuire and Debbie Thompson were both out.
That kind of equals it out for Joni being out. Like, Joni does a terrific job for her team, but we're lacking 2 of our good jammers, our top jammers, you know, so that makes up the difference right there.
Well, you're going into a special summer series against this Pioneer team up in the Northwest, and that game's coming up in Portland, Oregon, Seattle, Washington, Coos Bay. it'll be against the same Pioneer team with the exception of the 2 new additions, and that'll be Larry Smith and Francine Koshu coming onto the team. Do you think it'll enhance their chances of winning any more games from you?
Oh, well, they know they need the jamming power, let's face it. They really can't. Our boys, our jammers, they just run over the top of them as far as their girls. We do the same thing in the girls' field. That's mainly why that they are getting new jammers, or getting better jammers, actually. You know, well, Larry and Francine are both terrific jammers, you know. So they need it, really. You know, actually, we lost the series to them, but we're just kind of, you know, that's the way it goes. You can't win them all.
Well, you didn't really lose. You ended up tying this series. But the real games, I think, that are coming up for a lot of the Eastern fans, where you're going to go back home for a very, very short summer series, and one time only, will be against the Red Devils. Ken Monty coaching on the infield. He's got Bob Woodbury back in the lineup. Bob Severs, women's captain Ann Calvello. She's been off for a long rest. She'll probably look good in Rosetta Saunders, and I'm sure the fans in Springfield, the Felt Forum in New York, and many others are going to want to see those games. Anything in particular you're looking for?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to going home. It'll be good to get back there again, get back down to the Gardens and back up to Springfield and stuff. But, well, Bob's been off for a year. He was injured there for a while with his kneecap and things like that. And I know he was looking forward to coming back. I mean, he's just waiting to get at us because his team really didn't skate us all season, mainly with the team being off and being disbanded. And then Kenny coming back out of retirement, man, you can't say too much good about Kenny. I mean, he's always good. You know, you can't really knock the guy. He's terrific. He always has a good team. So we're looking forward to skating against him.
Well, we wish you the best of luck in both series in the summer, and sorry about your loss tonight.
Well, you know.
Don Drury with Mike Gammon from the Hammond Civic Center, Hammond, Indiana.